All right, today what we're going to do is a quadratics review. So let's get started with this first part. So for number one, it says to identify the vertex, x-intercepts, and y-intercepts of this equation right here. Now, just a quick thing to remember is when you have a quadratic, it's going to be in standard form. It's going to have A goes with x squared, B goes with x, and C is the constant, meaning there's no variables attached. So it doesn't matter where you start. The easiest one to start is probably your y-intercept. Your y-intercept is just the C value. So when you do the y-intercept, it's actually going to be 0. Oops, did I not write it down? I guess I didn't write it down. All right, so your y-intercept is going to be 0, 8 is your y-intercept. So when you're looking at that, that's probably the easiest one to get started with. And we know that because C equals 8. All right, so now let's go ahead and we can do the vertex, so we can start going for this one. Now the vertex, what you have to do first is you have to find x, and how you find x is by going negative b, and make sure it's negative b over 2a. So you're taking your b value, which is positive 6, and you're substituting it in here. And then don't forget the negative goes outside. I always put parentheses. Then you're going to go over 2, and the a value in this case is 1. And then we get negative 6 over 2, which equals negative 3. Now once you have x, check, and that's the first part. Now you need to find the y. So to find y, remember f of x is the same as y, we're going to take negative 3 and substitute it in for all the x's in your equation. So I've got negative 3 squared plus 6 times negative 3 plus 8. And then remember, negative 3 times negative 3 is 9. 6 times negative 3 is negative 18 plus 8. And that's going to give you negative 1. So your vertex is negative 3, negative 1. So that's the point. Now x-intercepts, what you got to do is you have to factor. So take this and you're going to factor it out to x plus 2 and x plus 4. And don't forget to set them equal to 0. And then so you would subtract 2 to the other side. And then the other part would be x plus 4 equals 0. And then do that. So your ordered pairs is x is negative 2 when y is 0. Or x is negative 4, that's 0. All right. So now for this one, for number 2, the graph of f of x equals x squared will be translated 5 units up and 2 units to the right. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this into vertex form. And that's exactly what this form is right here. So this is vertex form. And so it's x minus h squared plus k. And then remember, your h is your horizontal, which is left or right, and the k is vertical, up or down. So since we're going up, I'm going to put that here. And then since we're going to the right, I'm going to put that here. So you can see what I did there. Now, remember, x minus 2, all of that's squared. So that's why I did this. And then don't forget to distribute. And when you do that, you're going to get x squared minus 4x plus 4. And don't forget to bring down the plus 5 at the end. Once you got all that, combine like terms, and you got this. But remember, this is the same as g of x. The best choice is A. All right, for 3, now this one is which one has exactly one real solution. Now you could go through and solve all of these, but that's a lot of work. So there's a shortcut. You can use the discriminant. So remember, the discriminant is part of what's inside the quadratic formula. It's b squared minus 4ac. And if that equals to 0, you know it has one solution. So all I did was I took A B, and C, and I subbed it in to this equation, or to this part right here. And the first one, I got 280. Well, for this one, I did A, B, C, substituted those into the correct spot. And when I did that, I got 0, so that's good. So to finish the other parts, I did the negative B, sorry, I shouldn't say substitute. I did the B squared minus 4AC, and then I took the A, the B, and C, and plugged it into that. That doesn't work. That doesn't work, and this one doesn't work. So B is the best choice. So remember, if you're trying to figure out how many solutions it has, use the discriminant. All right, now number 4 is this translating, and it's a system. So sum of two numbers is 24. And then we're going to write another equation where it says the sum of the squares. So you square the two numbers is 306. Now, what I would do is I would use substitution because it's pretty easy to move the x over. And now wherever we see y here, we're going to plug this instead for substitution. So if you look over here in pink is where I substituted it in. And then again, remember, since this is squared, you're going to write it twice and then distribute. And when you do that, you're going to get this and bring down here, bring down here. All right, now start combining like terms. And then we're going to subtract 306 to have it equal to 0. That's a 6. And then that's what you get. Once you got that, factor out the GCF of 2. Oops. And so you got 2. And then now that we got that, now we can finally figure out, okay, this one is, if you were to factor it, you got 135 here, and they add to give you 24. So once you factor it out, then you know one of the options, because 24 is not there, is 35. All right, now on this one, number of bacteria, so here's your equation. And remember, you can always put y in for here, but it's n of t, where T is the temperature in degrees of the culture being. So scientists want to have fewer than 200 bacteria. So it has to be, it can't go smaller than that. So we're going to make that greater than 200. And all we're going to do is we're going to solve. And then truthfully, all I did was I just put this equation on Desmos. So here's the equation I entered in here. And then if you're to go and you click, that's going to give you the information, which is what it's between. So then you just come back here and you'll see what I have. This is between those, and then this one is the best option. So again, use Desmos. You can have that up while you're taking the final. All right, on this one, which graph displays the function? That. So there's a couple things we know. You've got positive 2x squared. So we know that since it's positive, it's going to open up. And then right away, I can cross those out because those would both be a negative a value or negative. So it's going to open down if you have negative. So this is wrong, that's wrong. All right, so now let's go ahead and turn our attention to here. So what you need to do is, like I said, find the zeros by setting it equal to 0. So here, if you were to look, that doesn't match up, because if you were to set this equal to 0, you're going to get, subtract 3, x equals negative 3 divided by 2. Well, this is not negative 3 halves, that's actually negative 2. So that's the wrong 0. And then same thing here. If you were to set this equal to 0, you're getting x equals positive 2. So this is not the right zeros, so B is the best choice. And it opens up, so we're good there. All right, now for this one, it's a word problem. There's a couple things I would do. I would definitely draw a picture of both things. And it says the width of the floor is 4 feet greater than the length. So the width I have right here, and the length is that. So you're going to take the length plus 4 is the width. The width of the rug, so now we got the rug here, is 2 feet less than the width of the floor. Well, if the floor is x plus 4, we're going to take 2 from that. And that's going to give you the width for that one, which makes sense. And if you simplify it, it's x plus 2. Now it says, and we got the length here is x minus 2. All right, so because we basically said this minus 2. All right, so now what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and you're going to multiply, because area equals length times width. So we took our length times our width, and when we multiplied that out, we got x squared plus 4x. And then here, you're going to find the area, which is length times width, multiply those two, so don't forget you're distributing. And when you get that, you'll get x squared minus 4, because you got a plus and a minus, so your middle term's going to cancel out. Last part says, which represents the area of the floor not covered. So you want to find this part right here, which is what you're looking for. So we want that part. So what you're going to do is subtract, and then when you get that, you'll get 4x plus 4. All right, on number 8, you have the heights of 2 different projectiles. So there's 2 different graphs you're going to have to look at. So the first one, f of x, is negative 16x squared plus 42x plus 12. And so you want to graph that, and then you want to compare it to the table. So what you'll need to do is I would definitely use Desmos. You could also use CalcStat. So CalcStat on your calculator. But I would use Desmos, that's pretty easy. What you're going to do first is you're going to enter in your table values. So that's easy. Then second, you're going to have to go y1 is going to do y sub 1. You don't do an equal sign, you do that little wavy sign. ax1, 2. So remember, for all your x's, you need to make sure it matches the column of this. So this is x1, and then do plus c. So you're going to enter that in. So let's go here, let's check it out. So on this one, I entered in, is this the right one? Oops, I did the wrong one, sorry. All right, there we go. All right, so I did this first one right here. I'm gonna ignore that one. And then that's negative 16. So if you look here, and then now I'm going to enter in, so that's my first one. So now I entered in my points on a table. And then now, once you enter in this equation, that's going to go ahead and that's going to show you this information right here. So what you're actually looking for is you're looking at the vertex here, and you're looking at the vertex there. So the vertex here is you have 39.6, and the vertex here is 34. So you're subtracting your y values. And you're going to get 5.6. And so definitely make sure you're looking at the vertex. So you're going to talk about the y value, since the y value is height. All right. Now for number 9, this one is just making sure you know your A, B, C value. So remember the song, x is equal to negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And then you're just going to substitute your values, but remember b is always going to have the negative outside, so you need to make sure you're checking to see which one has the correct information substituted in. And that would be this, because it's minus a negative 3, because this is negative 3. All right, for number 10, this is the Festival of Apples launched with catapults. On one launch, the height of an apple in feet above the ground after T seconds is modeled by that. So what I would do is go to Desmos, and your height is your Y, seconds are your X. So if we want to know when, you're looking at your X. So when is you're looking at your vertex, you're looking at your X value, okay? And then for what was the maximum height, well, that's going to be your Y vertex. So the maximum height would be your vertex, and that would be your Y. Okay, so let's go ahead. And then, so in how long was how many seconds? So look at your x-intercept. So let's go ahead, let's look at that one. I gave you a sneak peek already. Let's go back to that one. All right, so let's look here. And you have that the x value of your vertex is 4.6875, and then your y value of your vertex is 38.56. And then to get the other C, you gotta scroll all the way depending on how you set this up. I'm gonna kind of shrink that. There we go. All right, so now that you've got that, so now you can go ahead and you can click on your x's, or your zeros, excuse me, and then you can subtract to figure out how many seconds it took. So when you take your values, now you can come back here and you're going to get 9.571 seconds. All right. And then that is your quadratic review. Remember, Desmos, I would definitely be using Desmos on this one. Just make sure you enter in your information correctly. And if you're asked to find, or if it gives you any tables, make sure you do y sub 1. So you have to type in the y. Don't forget to type in the 1 plus c. Alrighty.